Spider-Man in the MCU has been a match made in heaven, but sometimes you just can't help to look back at the early days of Spider-Man in the Raimi Trilogy. They're still some of the best comic book films ever put to the screen. And although MCU Spider-Man has been great, they've avoided these characters and these villains because simply these films were done so well. So well, in fact, it looks like we might be getting them in Spider-Man No Way Home. Still, I think it is a missed opportunity because I want to see other versions of these characters, just like I want to see other versions of Spider-Man. But I really want to see the MCU do their own version of Jonah Jameson. I mean, J.K. Simmons is amazing, but it kind of seems cheap to keep him in the role. So let's tackle the Raimi Trilogy. And who would play these characters if they ever appeared in the MCU? But first, I want to thank today's sponsor, Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN that allows you to protect your data from being breached, which is great, but I mainly use it to change my IP address to make it seem like I'm from different countries. Like if you live in the US and you were looking to watch every Spider-Man movie and prep for No Way Home, well, you simply couldn't do so. Or you could get Surfshark and simply just change your IP address to be in South Korea. Then you've got all three Spider-Mans in one home. Even without changing your IP address, it just makes sense in today's age to protect your data. And Surfshark actually allows you unlimited devices. So you use promo code BrianSeeker and get 83% off, as well as an extra 3 months free with the service. So check out the description below for more details. Now let's get to the casting. Now I'm going to tackle most of the characters within the Raimi trilogy, but I'm actually going to wait on Venom. He's actually going to be in another video. But for now, let's tackle Jonah Jameson, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Harry Osborn, and Sandman. So let's recast Spider-Man. Now before we get started, I saw this comment on the last video and thought it was very interesting. Although I will have my main choice for the MCU, I would like to provide a different and alternative choice for some of the major villains, like Green Goblin and Doc Ock. I won't be doing it for every character, rather the ones we may see different versions of. But still, it is a fun experiment, so I'll be doing that in the future. First up, we have Green Goblin. Now, the first Spider-Man is a classic movie, and a lot of that comes down to the perfect casting of many roles. One of the best is Norman Osborn. The only negative I can see about Green Goblin in my mind is when you have the perfect actor with such amazing facial expressions and performance, you put this over his face. I'm not a massive fan of the suit, but that being said, I don't think it takes away from the film. Still, in the MCU, I do think we should get a slightly different approach to this character. We still need that essence of the character, that mogul who is both commanding on screen and holds your attention, someone with gravitas who can play Norman Osborn as well as Green Goblin. Now it's important I note that we are selecting an actor for the MCU, but the alternative choice and someone I can see as just Green Goblin and popping in the multiverse would be Andrew Scott, because I think he would be absolutely perfect for just the version of Green Goblin. He has all the craziness we need here, and he'd fit incredibly well. I'm not sure if he'd do as great with Norman Osborn, but that's why I want him to pop in full-on Green Goblin from the get-go.
But you don't have to fear it.
I think he'd do something wonderful, and although it'd be kind of wasting Andrew Scott in a role that would be small, I think he'd be great. So Andrew Scott is Green Goblin. But if I'm being honest, the MCU will not do that. They will not do this kind of crazy version, the typical cartoon comic book version of this character. Spider-Man specifically and the MCU are definitely taking a more grounded look at their characters. Now, every once in a while, the most popular pick online is actually the best pick, because Matthew McConaughey is by far the best man to fit into the current MCU with his character. His portrayal specifically in True Detective and his look there is what really sells me on this. I do think they would have to make the character less maniacal laugh crazy and more psychological, but I do think that is a good divergence from the Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin.
What's it say about life? You gotta get together. Tell yourself stories that violate every law of the universe. Just to get through the goddamn day? Now, what's that say about your reality, Marty?
I think Matthew McConaughey has the range to pull off this character, and although I'd really like to see that classic comic book Green Goblin, I think a more grounded, mechanical look here would work better in the MCU. So Matthew McConaughey is Green Goblin. Next up, let's do Harry Osborn. Now, I want Harry to be just Harry. I want him to have a role as just kind of Peter's friend, and I think with him being Norman's son brings enough dramatic attention already. Now, this character likely won't pop up in No Way Home, but I can see him appearing in a Spider-Man 4 when Peter's in college. I think it would be a natural integration for both Norman and Harry, and I want someone who has that calmer side, and someone who can go a little bit with the flow and is more modest. I went with an actor who was actually close to landing the role of Spider-Man himself, Charlie Rowe. I do like the poetic nature of how James Franco, the original Harry, auditioned for Peter, and Charlie being the same, but still, I think he has everything that I want here. I think he'd work incredibly well with Tom Holland, and I feel like he'd fit in well with the university situation that I'm setting up, but he definitely has the persona I want attached to this role as well.
What? When? A few hours ago. Holy hell.
Where is he?
I don't know. I haven't seen him since the EM drive crashed and burned.
Do you think Darius could have hacked NASA?
Could he or would he? Those are two different questions.
So Charlie Rowe as Harry Osborn. Next up we have Doc Ock. Now, it goes without saying how iconic Alfred Molina was in this role. It's hard to beat his perfect cadence and performance in that film. Now, we need someone who is classically intelligent, but has a little bit of that mad scientist energy. Someone who can become a little obsessive, but still play it with subtlety. Now, that person that I'm describing sounds a lot like Mark Hamill, who is definitely someone that the internet wants in this role, but at nearly 70, I think he would be just a touch too old. That's why I think he'd be great for a cameo here, and to appear as an alternate version, and have a little bit of a smaller role here. I think he has everything this character needs, as well as he can definitely bring this role to a different level. So Mark Hamill as Doc Ock. As for our main MCU Doc Ock, I want someone with a little bit more subtlety than Mark Hamill. I want this to be complex and emotional, have a real journey here for Doc Ock. We need that mad scientist energy here, but a little less so. Something that's more rooted in reality like the MCU is. That's why I think Jared Harris is the best of both worlds here. He's played the menacing before in Sherlock Holmes.
So you're not fighting me so much as you are the human condition.
But has also played the sympathetic in Chernobyl.
There's only one place in the entire facility where you will find graphite. Inside the core. If there's graphite on the ground outside, it means it wasn't a control system tank that exploded, it was the reactor core, it's open.
Either way, he's a little bit obsessive, which Doc Ock should definitely be. I can see him perfectly setting up a relationship with Peter before turning, much like the PS4 Spider-Man. I think a role like this requires a lot of an actor, and I think Jared Harris is really up to that challenge. So Jared Harris as Doc Ock. Next up we have Sandman. Definitely not my favorite addition to the Raimi trilogy, but that's a longer story for a different time. I do like what they did with the storyline and the character in that film, but it didn't really total up to much. Now, he's not high on my list of characters that I want to see in the MCU, but I definitely want an arc here and not just a one-note character. Now, John Cena is not my favorite actor out there, but one can't deny how great he'd be for a role like this. Not only his look, but his background is perfect for this. And I think he could really translate that anger perfectly. He also looks like he's a retired football player, and as he's proven in the past, he isn't just a one-note actor.
I cherish peace with all my heart. I don't care how many men, women, and children I need to kill to get it.
So John Cena as Sandman. Lastly, we have the hardest man to recast in all of superhero movies. Harder than Wolverine, harder than Iron Man, because Jonah Jameson is just J.K. Simmons. So much so that the MCU said screw it, we can't do any better, and just threw him in Far From Home. Like I said before, this is kind of a cop-out in my opinion. Although maybe no one could live up to JK's performance, I want the MCU to make it their own. I want to see a new JJ on screen. Still, it seems to be JK, but let's pretend like that didn't happen, and take a look at other actors for this role. Now, this person obviously needs to have that over-the-top acting style without it feeling forced. He needs to be that mean and angry, but still having that little bit of a soul peeking through. A tough exterior, but with a backbone. I end up going with a very different choice here, but one that could definitely work. He'd definitely be different, but still have the energy of the character. That man is John C. McGinley. Just watch this clip and tell me you don't see just a little bit of J. Jonah.
Because you see, you two idiots got real lucky. I don't have enough to keep you here. But mark my words, gentlemen, you're going down. Or by God, I'm gonna take you down. But either way, once you're down, you'll stay down! Now get up and get out! Get up, get out, 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 get up, get out! Get up and go, get up and go! Don't touch my door!
He can just undress you with his speech and demoralize you in the same way that JJ can, all with a fast speech and anger that is just iconic. I do think he needs to work on his voice a little bit and get a little bit deeper to get really what that character needs, but he's shown time and time again, and specifically in Scrubs, that he can show that little bit of soul coming through that tough exterior and really nail this. So John C. McGinley as J. Jonah Jameson. So there are my recasts for the MCU, specifically from the Raimi trilogy. I will be going through the Amazing Spider-Man next, and then continue on to Venom and Carnage, and those characters that have been kind of cast parallel to the MCU. I will also tackle those MCU characters that have never appeared on screen, but let me know which ones I should not miss. As always, thank you so much for watching, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.